Be sure to go to flipsidegaming.com and use promo code 6 for 10% off on orders over $10. You can do the same at the Grizzly Gentleman for some fantastic beard products that'll make your beard look and smell great. You can also go to TCG Player using the affiliate link below and shop there to help support the show. And last but absolutely not least, go to greyvikinggames.com with the link below to get those sweet arena codes. What's up, Planeswalkers? Derek6, back with some more Magic the Gathering Arena news. So, this is something that I wasn't sure if I wanted to make a full video on, but you know what? I decided to. Jumpstart Historic Horizons. This is meant to be released today. I'm recording this on Sunday. Whatever. This was leaked accidentally by Wizards. They essentially published it a little too early. It happens. But there's some interesting stuff here. So we're getting a new Jumpstart called Historic Horizons. Now, Historic Horizons, apparently, is going to be exclusively on Arena in August 12th. And it comes hundreds of cards. I really wish they gave us an actual number here, because hundreds, it's more than, okay, so here's the thing. That means it has to be at least 200 cards, right? Because hundreds is a plural. You get 150 card is not hundreds, right? So it needs to be at least 200 for Modern Horizons and Modern Horizons 2. And more. Again, I understand this is an announcement article, but I hate the vagity because of the fact that, like, vagaries, I think is the word I was looking for, because of the fact that, like, we're going to be getting the information of, like, specific cards. Just tell us how many and what sets are going to be included. Like, it bothers me a lot that they don't do that, but whatever. That's neither here nor there. I love the idea of putting some Modern Horizons and Modern Horizons 2 cards into Historic. Historic already has cards that aren't in Modern, so getting some of the good cards from Modern Horizons, I think, is going to be a net positive for Historic as a format. That said, we have to contend with this. 31 new-to-Magic cards you'll only find in the digital release. So they're pulling kind of a a commander here, a commander product style thing, where they're going to be printing a relatively small number of cards that are specific to this set. And the first thing that I guess I have to talk about is, what do I think of digital-only cards in a game that began and still is a paper primary format, or game, I should say. I think it's fine, with the largest asterisk you will ever see. I think if Wizards wants to have arena-only cards, I think that's reasonable. What that means, though, is Wizards has to make a commitment, essentially, to never have Historic in paper, unless they're willing to... No, you know what? I don't even... it's not even like, unless they're willing to print, like, Historic Horizons instead in paper. Because that means it essentially has the same issue with Magic Online, is that, like, you're buying the same product again. Now, some people who actually play Standard physically might not like that they do have to spend more money on Arena to play the same decks. For what it's worth, I'm not going to address the general economy. I think Wizards should focus way more on cosmetics, like Legends of Runeterra does. Legitimately, I've spent money on Runeterra, all of it for cosmetics. I do not believe I've spent a single dime on getting actual cards, and I don't even play all, like, there are times when I don't play a lot, and there are times when I do play a decent amount. I still have essentially, like, almost the entire game, almost the entire collection. Instead of Wizards should do that instead of, like, actually trying to get their monetization from cards. They should not do that. The getting product should be super easy on Arena. Getting cosmetics and having a huge variety of cosmetics really should be their focus. But it isn't, because Wizards, maybe it's not Wizards, maybe it's Hasbro. Someone on the higher ups is stupid. I'm just gonna say that, frankly. But as long as they essentially keep Historic on Arena, I do not see an issue with this. I have to add something, though. The cards that are being printed in this cannot be allowed in Brawl if they ever try to bring Brawl back to paper. Historic, I don't think that they're going to. There is a weird world where Wizards does try to reinvigorate Brawl in paper. They shouldn't. It should just be a historic arena format. Frankly, it should just be Commander, and they should release the Commander decks onto Arena, but again, I don't want to tell Wizards how to make their fat stacks of cash. Anyway, I think generally overall, it's fine that we're getting 31 new cards. These are digital only, which not only means that at the start they can push their power level because they can rein them back, but also these are not going to shake up Modern, Legacy, Vintage, like some other Eldraine, excuse me, some other sets recently that have just been an overwhelming force in these Eternal formats that have a bunch of other cards that these new cards that are broken AF can interact with, right? So I think it'll be fine. We'll have to see. But my expectation is that these 31 new cards, or at least some of them, are going to be busted AF. And I think that's a good thing. Wizards can bring it back to a point where they're fine. That said, I actually don't expect them to bring it back. I expect that they will print some busted cards, and instead of changing them, they'll probably just, like, ban them, which is stupid, but, you know, Wizards doesn't do a great job with maintaining Historic as a format anyway. Whatever. So there's, like, what's coming in Jumpstart Historic Horizons. Frankly, I don't care about the Jumpstart aspect. I did enjoy myself with Jumpstart the first time it came around. I was very upset because of how many pay-ins that I made, and I still wasn't able to collect all the cards. The second time it came around, I just didn't have the ability to pay in because, you know, finances kind of tight right now. So the fact that you can't just, like, buy the cards easier, I understand that you can craft them, but the fact that you can't just, like, buy the cards easier. Oh wait, no, you can't. You couldn't craft them. That's the thing. That's one of the issues, is I couldn't craft them. Unless they changed that, and I didn't check the last time, you can't craft them. Hopefully they change that here, and you can craft them, but I have no idea. I mean, I could be super wrong. Whatever. There are no basic lands in these packs. Sure, I don't really care about that. They're changing it so that they'll give you basic lands. I wish you could choose your number of basic lands, but whatever. We already have these in Historic, so I'm actually a little upset that they chose these lands. I'm actually going to duplicate this, and gosh, it's underground something. Apparently it's not. Give me a second. So the fact that they're adding these things that we already have on Arena and not Darkwater Catacombs, Dark Sleep, like, I can understand if they don't want to add Darkwater Catacombs and the other, like, filter lands. I call them Signet lands because they essentially are like Ravnica Signets. I can understand if they don't want those, or the actual filter lands, the one from Lorwyn and Shadowmoor and stuff. But we don't have the rest of these. Cost how much? I have a few cards in my collection that I am not using right now. Interesting. The thing is, like, we have the ones from Kaladesh, but we don't have these. Like, I know that they're rare, but, like, I know these are this much dollars, but that's only because they've been printed essentially only once, and they have a very specific name. Although you could probably get away with reprinting this. Razorverge Thickets, Seachrome Coast. I mean, it would be hard, but you could do it. So, like, it's a little meh to me that they've done that. Collections. And these not-basic lands are considered before basic lands, blah, blah, blah. Who cares? This gives you, like, a packet list. There's some investigation cards to give you artifacts. There's things where you get rid of your artifacts and stuff. Like, whatever, I don't care. Again, I mean, this is essentially the same type of thing as the original Jumpstart, right? So my main issue, I mean, this is my main issue here. A lot of people are talking about whether or not, like, this is the thing. This is the thing that everyone's talking about, right? Is these new to Magic cards. I don't think they're going to be an issue. I really don't. As long as Wizards handles the arena-only formats properly. Historic Brawl should be the thing. Normal Brawl sucks, and it should be 100 cards, preferably 30 life. I'll take 80 cards, 30 life. We can compromise. But yeah, I mean, this is the main thing that people are worried about, and I honestly, I don't care nearly as much about this. Like, I was already saying that, like, Wizards, if Historic is going to be a super separate thing, I'd be fine with Wizards having Historic cards be altered permanently. And they just completely are different from the paper counterparts. I would be fine with that. I understand that there's an issue with newer players who are confused by why their cards operate differently in paper versus on Arena. The thing is, they would work the same if they're in Standard, but in Historic, which Wizards is either saying is too popular to do that to, or Wizards, which is essentially what they've been telling us, isn't popular enough to get as much frank attention as it needs. I know that this sounds weird because of the fact that they're doing this. This is so they sell things. Then I think that it would be cool to have Historic be allowed these cards. And they tried it with that event. I don't know if they're going to go through with it. My guess is that was like step one of a test. Like, I think that was a test. I think these cards, these 31 cards, are going to be a test. And Wizards, I think, is going to kind of look at the general reaction. Obviously, the reaction so far has been very mixed. I've seen a lot of people who are for it. I've seen a lot of people against it. Noxious. I mean, he was on the, like, let's errata Historic cards from, like, the damn get-go. And I was convinced by a lot of his arguments. So, we're definitely more on the side of, like, this is totally fine. Some people aren't. Wizards sees this for sure. They're not going to care until people play with them. And I think that for those of you who are on the fence of, like, what that means for Historic, I think you should also chillax, wait until it's out, and then if it's bad, bash the hell out of the company Wizards of the Coast. Not the people, the company. So now what I would like to do is I would like to go through some of the cards in Modern Horizons, Modern Horizon 2, and kind of just point out some things that stood out to me. So this is literally all of the cards. I'm not going to talk about each and every one. I'm just going to go through and talk about the cards that I think would add to Historic in some way. I should note that when I'm talking about the cards that are being added, I'm also looking at this from the perspective that Wizards is going to make Brawl Historic primary. So take that as you will. Morphon. This is the first card we come across. It's literally the first here. I think that Morphon would be really cool, not for the actual jumpstart, not for actual Historic, but for Historic Brawl, allowing some of these less strong tribes have a real home. The issue is that this is a 5-color card. And 5-color cards, especially ones that cheat mana in some way, can be a really big problem. So it's a bit caution, but I as a person who really likes tribes, I literally did a video yesterday about tribes, about a tribe. I really like this. Astral Drift is interesting. We've seen most of the cycling decks be very aggressive. I'd love to see a more value-oriented cycling deck. Slivers is essentially the next thing. Slivers are cool. People like slivers. I mean, they hate them, but they also like them. So I just think it'd be cool to have slivers. Like, even if it's just the ones from the Modern Horizon sets, that does mean that you, like, don't have all of the broken ones. So just give us the slivers. It's fine. It's totally fine. I do not want to see any of the forces. Free spells are bad. Wizards somehow has yet to learn this. Mana is the way this game is balanced. Essentially. Technically, there's a bunch of knobs. Mana primarily is the way things are balanced. When you're able to cheat on that mana in a big way, that produces problems. Now, Force of Virtue, it's big of a deal, frankly. But there are some cards, Force of Negation, that should not be printed into Arena. Giver Brooms, Death and Taxes says hi. That is all. We had Changelings in Call Time. It'd be cool to have even more Changeling support. I guess literally, what, 4-5 rows in? we've come to my to one of my talking points. Just put the entire sets on there, minus some cards that are dumb, like the Force Cycle, right? Just put the sets in. Like, stop it. King of the Pride would be pretty cool. More cat stuff. The first Modern Horizons did have a lot of cool snow things. Some of them, like on thin ice, really cool. Some of them that we'll get to, it's cool, so I wouldn't like to see those. Sisay is dangerous. I actually don't think she should come. I think she's a bit much, frankly. Winds of Abandon would be very nice to have. A pretty simple white removal spell. This compares very favorably to the Declaration in Stone. Giving them a clue versus giving them a basic, it's kind of a toss-up, but I think having the option would be quite nice. Do not print this, please. People are already very upset about counter spells, and I'm certain that this would be very annoying for people. There's more snow stuff. They're not great for what it's worth, but you know, having snow stuff would be pretty cool. There's ninja stuff in here, but I don't think there's enough ninjas to really justify that. This card doesn't exist. I would love to see Iceberg Cancrix printed, just so that people can play 12 Crab, because I believe we have Hedron and Ruin. Is that true? I don't remember. Oh no, we have this one. I'm stupid. This is Historic Anthology 4. No, we need Hedron Crab so people can play 12 Crab. We can only play 8 Crab right now, and that's not good enough. Mirrodin Besiege might be cool, but it's another, you know, it's an instant win thing. A lot of people don't like those, so very difficult to be sure. Thought Scour should be in the format. Please, Wizards, please don't put this in there. I don't need it. Look, we don't need this. Unless you're going to errata this card on Arena, please don't. This card, too strong. In a similar vein, I think Cabal Therapist would not be helpful to the health of Historic. I think that there are the sacrifice decks are already probably going to be too strong. Even though like you can't do this whenever, it has to be during your pre-combat main phase. I still think the fact that you're able to get repeated value out of something like this, I don't think Historic is ready for it. I could be super wrong, but I don't know if it seems real bad. Seems bad for people. Carrying Fear, on the other hand, is hilarious. Totally add this. Vampire Lord, pretty cool. Totally should add this. Okay, Wizards, I understand. You know, I understand. You don't think that black should be good at removing creatures anymore. Whatever, it's fine. Please give us at least one of these two cards. I am begging. I am on my knees pleading with you, Wizards. If you're not going to give me Damnation or Mutilate, at the bare minimum, force me to play Snowlands, force me to play Dead of Winter. It'll kill my own creatures. I'm not playing snow creatures for the most part. Maybe I'll play the 4-mana 4/4 zombie in a control deck with this, because it wouldn't be affected and it would put a lot of things into my exile thanks to the card. Sure, cool, awesome. But generally speaking, I would love some good removal in black for Historic decks. Essentially like for mono black Historic decks. Hell, like make a new Damnation, call it Darn Nation, and have it be black, quad black pips. I'm fine with that. I will play that. Please, Wizards. And then, of course, this is just like a good card, generally speaking. So, I mean, that's pretty sick. It's also Any Swamp, which is pretty, you know, sick. And Link is a cool zombie. Please don't. I literally just said, like, give black something good. I hate free spells more than I want black to have a good board wipe. That should tell you like how important this is to me. Nether Spirit. I would love if we had Nether Spirit, Wizards. It's a stupid like Pox deck card, and we don't have Liliana the Veil or anything like that. Nether Spirit's just fun. I like Nether Spirit. It's probably bad, but whatever. Plague Engineer. Don't. It's hurting creature decks in Modern. Right? If it's hurting creature decks in Modern, where there's a lot of fantastic answers to it. How do you think it's gonna go against creatures in Historic? Yes, this helps against goblins, but it also hurts other decks that aren't as highly played. Merfolk, while still good, humans even, while still good, zombies, vampires, you know, even if it doesn't outright destroy those decks, it just makes those decks more annoying to play with, especially once Innistrad comes out, where people are absolutely going to be trying out a lot of these tribes, especially zombies, especially vampires, since we have a decent amount of those from like Zendikar and whatnot, and we don't have all the zombies because we don't have the last Innistrad set in the game. Anyway, lost the happy, but the happy's back. Undead Augur, I would love to see. Okay, so Unearth. This is a card that in particular I wanted to talk about. I do not know if this card would be absolutely busted or not. I feel like it would be, even though it's only CMC 3 or less. Feel like this card would be stupid good in Historic. I feel like there's so many good 3-drops. And you just get it for 1 mana. So I want to know what you all think about Unearth. Because I feel like it's maybe too strong. I want this just for my Scorpion God Brawl deck. Because I'm a coward. You're not going to see me talk a lot about red cards because I really don't care about most of them. The thing is, like, Force of Rage is so bad, this is probably fine to print. Goblin Engineer could be interesting. I just worry about essentially like cheating mana. You do only get 3 or less. You could possibly do something super funky though. That's, I don't know. I think it's worth the risk because it's cool. I think it's really cool. I don't think there are any burn spells in the first version that are really stupid. I would love to see Pillage. I understand that we have Stone Rain. I would love to see Pillage. I'm a bad person, that's why. There's literally no other reason. I'm just a bad person. I want to see Pillage. Like, Seasoned Pyromancer would be pretty interesting. Shenanigans would be pretty interesting. I have no idea if... I don't think Dredge would be too much of an issue with the limited amount of cards that this set would bring. We don't have enough bears for Bear Tribal, but I would love to see these cards just because it's funny. Especially Ayula's Influence. Just like discarding a land to make a bear at instant speed, no less. Like, that's just funny. I just find this humorous. Collector, oof. Apparently a Medicine Modern, I think it would be nice as an option. Force of Vigor, go away. It's really, I don't like free spells, man. I mean, this Hex Drinker is a weird snack. It's fine. This card scares the crap out of me because you can turn 1 Llanowar Elf, turn 2 Llanowar Tribe, turn 3, just kill me. Just end my life, please. But, it's cool. It's cool stuff. It's, cool things. I would like to see Spore Frog. And I understand that the only reason that I want to see Spore Frog is so I can play it in Muldrotha, and people will be very upset with me. I understand, but I really want this. So please, Wizards, make it happen. People will be super happy for Squirrels. I don't think there's enough in this set to really add much to it. I don't think there are enough X spells to be super great with Unbound Flourishing, but I don't think it would hurt either. Collected Conjuring might be a really fun card. Eladamri's Call would be super interesting, actually, because this is one of those tutors that is relatively restricted. Like, you can only get a creature, but right now, the green-white company decks essentially are just aggro decks with Collected Company off the top. I would like to see Eladamri's Call, because maybe that'll give us enough for a toolbox green-white deck. So I just think that'd be pretty sick. This would help some tribal decks, not a lot. Again, I would love to see Slivers on Historic. If nothing else, just to see people be upset about it. Slivers are either like super awesome or hated, utterly hated. This was a mistake. This card, I like the idea of putting more snow onto Historic. I do think that the value for this card is too high by a large amount. It replaces itself, and it trades up almost all the time. Like, you have to have 3 other snow permanents. You play this like on turn 2 or 3 when you have minimum 2 snow lands, and then like possibly a 3rd snow land or another snow thing. I think it's just too good. I don't think there was anything else that I cared about. Oh, do not put this on Arena. Sarah, the other Planeswalker from this set, sure, whatever, take her or leave her. Don't put this on Arena. Stop, just stop. Same with Arkham's Astrolabe. Like, this had to be banned in Modern. Do not even try to put that on here. Baby, I compare it to a kiss from a rose on the grave. Ooh, the market. Mox Tenlight might be fine. I don't know how many ways to get around Suspend there are in Historic off the top of my dome. I'd love to see 2 more swords. We already have Sword of Body in mind. It seems fine right now, so I'd love to see those. I would also love to see the talismans, not just these ones though. We would have to have all of them, and I just really like them. I would love to have more like good mana fixing for Historic Brawl, especially if Wizards finally like gets guts and bans the 5-color commanders. I do wonder if they'll add in the Horizon lands. I hope they do. I think the Horizon lands are fine. Yeah, I feel like they're super fine. Prismatic Vista, I would love to see. We have Fabled Passage, is not great. I'd love to see Prismatic Vista. It's a fetch land, and because it's on Arena, it doesn't really matter that it's a fetch land. The shuffling takes essentially no time. I mean, like literally, compared to in paper shuffling. You have to pay life, whatever. That means that aggro decks that are multiple colors can use this a little bit more effectively than control decks because of the fact that you do lose a life. I think overall this would be a helpful card for Historic. Why was this? Oh, it's a buy box promo. Flusterstorm. We don't really have Storm decks, and the ones that we do have don't need more hate. I don't think we need Flusterstorm. Now we get into Modern Horizons 2, which, fun fact, came out like just last month. And yet, here we are, already in AFR, and looking at this, which is essentially a new release. Abiding Grace is super interesting. I do wonder if it would be good enough to see play in the Ajani Pridemate decks, where you have your Soul Sisters on one. Then you have essentially like all the Pridemates. So you have actual Pridemates. You have the Hollow. You have the Priest. I don't remember. There's a 2-mana 1/1 instead of a 2-mana 2/2. You have the new green-white lady, and then of course on 3 you have like Heliod. I don't know if this is good enough. It does straight up give you a life, or you get your dweebs back. This also is like nice with Selfless Savior. It allows you to protect your Pridemates a little bit more consistently because you'll always be able to get this on your end step. So, that's nice. Arcbound cards, sure. None of these seem too strong. Tempered Steel right now in Historic is kind of like peeking around the bushes like, I can beat some of you a lot. I'm coming for you one day. And I think it'd be nice to give them a little bit extra help. Esper Sentinel, I mean, you all know why I want this card. Death and Taxes. Late for Dinner. The thing is, we have Unburial Rites. We have Blood for Bones. I think Late to Dinner would be fine as just a mono white removal. Reanimation card. I can't see a world in which it's like too good. That said, Out of Time might be weird and stupid. I've played with Prismatic Ending in Modern with a friend of mine. We were doing some practice matches, and this card is awesome, and I would love to see it. This is like a free spell type thing. I don't know how I feel about it, even though it's a suspend 2. You can see it coming. I just legitimately don't know if it's too good. Sanctifier on Vec. A lot of people really hate the color hate cards. I think overall they're fine when they're like made properly. Like Fry, for example, totally fine card. Noxious Grasp, barely even played anymore. Not Celestial Purge. I don't even remember what it's called because it's garbage, because it's not Celestial Purge. Wizards, give me some... I lost the Happy, but the Happy's back. But the Veil, that was a little bit too good because it did too much. Gave all your crap hexproof, drew you a card. I don't think it countered the blue spell, but you know, it did too much. It did too much. Investigate, just cool stuff. These, no. Again, these are free spells. These are just like the forces. I do not want them. I love the card. I love a lot of the incarnation cards. I do not want to see them in this format. They are free spells that are too good for historic. Again, I am HO. I could be super technically wrong, but I'm actually right. And that's all that actually matters. A lot of these don't actually seem like too strong, but there are some things that I'm just not sure we're ready for. Mill is a legitimate modern deck right now with, I want to say it was around 3% of the metagame, and you know, 3 is not it's not overbearing, but it does well. Mill is a real deck now. It's no longer just a laughing stock. It's a real deck, and I recognize that many players who, I'm not gonna say anything disparaging. Many players don't like Mill. Mill functionally is the same as Burn. I should say fundamentally is the same as Burn. It's not functionally. The big difference, obviously, is that it's a little harder for you to counteract a Mill. Because with Burn, you can gain life. And because of White's color design, and even Green to a certain extent, there are instances of just like random life gain across a number of cards that you can have in the sideboard, even in the main deck, that aren't primarily life gain cards, but that can get you some here and there. With Mill, it's a little harder. There are fewer ways to just shuffle everything back in, because that's essentially the way you counter Mill. So I don't know if Fracture Sanity should be put into Historic. It is... I played a Mill deck as one of my decks for Modern practice. It can be very good, and a lot of it is due to this card. So I don't know. I know I'm stuck on this card for a little while, but I legitimately think that this card might be a little over the top. We also did just get Tasha's Hideous Laughter, and that is another card that the Mill deck plays. And I mean, at this point, there aren't that many. Like, there's Hedron Crab, Archive Trap, and Fractured Sanity that we're missing to make essentially just the modern deck. Obviously, there's other differences, but like Curse Your Sudden Inevitable Trail. I don't know about Delve. I don't think it'll be an issue as long as these cards aren't too broken, and I don't really think there are. We have to have Phantasmal Dreadmaw just because of the memes, like literally no other reason, just because of the dank memes. Rishadan Dockhand. I wish this was a fucking white card. I'm very upset that it's not. It could even still be a white Merfolk with Island Walk and tap target land. Like, Merfolk is allowed to be in white. Merfolk have been in every color technically. I do wonder if they've been surpassed. At one point, white Merfolk were more common than either green or black. I don't remember which, but that's probably no longer the case. But yeah, I'm just a little upset that we don't really know about this, or that this card's not white. That said, I still think that it probably would be fine in modern or in historic. We don't have Aether Vial, even though I kind of want us to. So it's a lot harder to have an aggressive deck that's able to use its mana to deploy threats and offer some amount of land denial. So this is probably fine. This might be too good though. Go away. Free spells, go away. Affinity for artifacts. This card's played in Modern Affinity. It's pretty decent. This is probably fine though. On Historic, we don't have enough like very good low-cost artifacts that are playable that I think would make this an issue. So I honestly think that some of the Affinity cards here would be fine. This card is sick. I played with this card because I played Stoneblade, as another one of my things. And I also played some other deck Saffron Olive made. This card is awesome. It might be too annoying as a reanimation target, but damn, do I love it. Bone Charge also, very, very cool card. Yeah, Bone Charge, very cool card. The fact that it allows you to sacrifice or discard can be very helpful in reanimation matches, because a lot of the times when you're playing Reanimator, you might have something stuck in your hand. Now, yes, you can go into red for things like faithless looting and whatnot, but being able to stay like black-white or even mono-black Reanimator would be pretty sick. Okay, so there's a card called Sinkhole, which essentially is just black sorcery, destroy target lands. Alongside Death and Taxes, there's actually another deck that I really like across both Legacy and Modern, and that is Pox. I love Pox. I'm like an inch off of a terrible Magic player, right? Death and Taxes and Pox are very close to like full stacks. Even though I absolutely love Break the Ice, it probably shouldn't be put in Historic. Probably shouldn't. Damn needs to be put in Historic yesterday. This card's sick. It's only single target if you're mono black. If you're mono white, it can only be a board wipe. But if you blend the two together, you can have both ways. I think this card is sick. I would love it. I'd play it. I would splash white to play this in mono black decks. Like that. I mean, that's how good it is. I wouldn't need this if we had Nation at the end of here. If it was damn Nation. Not. Where's the... Okay, we haven't come up to it yet. But there's definitely something that I want to show you. That's really strong. That I think would be... I mean, Echoing Return would be funny just for the, like, Relentless Rat style decks. Hilarious. This art is Robbie did a lot of art for the Ikoria comic book cards. And even though this, like, dog is not technically good, I just wanted to point out this art because it's so good. It's just so good. You don't understand how good it is. Magus of the Bridge. So, for those of you who don't know, the Maguses are human wizards. I think all of them are human wizards that are nods to previous and very strong cards. This one is Bridge from Below. And I believe technically the text might be the same, but I don't recall exactly. Whenever a non-token creature is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, create a 2/2 black zombie creature. When a creature is put into an opponent's graveyard from the battlefield, exile this card. So where Bridge from Below had to be in your graveyard, this has to be in play. If one of your opponent's creatures die, you have to exile a Magus. But whenever your creatures die, you get a zombie. Has to be a non-token, but you do get a zombie. Is there possibly a way to do stupid things with this in Historic? Yes. But it's not as broken, I don't think. So I think this is fine. Even as a 3-mana 4/4, like, I think this is probably fine. Because, like, you attack in a chump block, you lose your Magus, right? So I think it's fine. This card is awesome. I would love to try to make a Pox deck with this and some other cards. This card is dumb. This card right here persists. This card right here. This card right here. The one right here. This card right here. It is dumb. Is real good. Fun fact, 2 mana return just a non-legendary creature is strong. It's very strong. Like, even though we don't have all of the same stuff as Historic, just imagine, like, reanimate a Palaka Worm, reanimate a burning dude, the one from Kaldheim, the 6-mana 6/6 demon that isn't a legendary creature. There are just so many different things. I think we have Maelstrom Angel right now in Historic. I could be wrong, but we might, like, reanimate one of those because it's not legendary. Like, this card is dummy good. The -1/-1 counter does not matter because the things that you're going to be reanimating are going to be fucking huge. Profane Tutor, I'm horrified by this card. That's it. Oh yeah, Torque is great. I love Torque. Tragic Fall is fucking hilarious. Unmarked Grave. . There are so many graveyard strategies right now on Arena. And one of the ones that isn't as good is Reanimator. Just all-in Reanimator. It's fine. It's playable. It's not great. And a big part of me just wants to watch the world burn with Reanimator. You can tell, by the way, that I'm incredibly, I was gonna say hysterical, hypocritical, when it comes to what I deem as just stupid. I love dumb reanimation. Essentially, like, this is the deck that I played, one of the decks that I played in Practice Modern, with my friend, is I would literally, Unmarked Grave, an Archon of Justice? Archon of Cruelty? I don't know. The 8-mana Archon that enters the battlefield to exile something, and when it dies, exile something. Literally, you just Unmarked Grave, persist it. Your life is amazing. It's so good when it works, and it's terrible when it doesn't, let me tell you. I think there's enough graveyard hate in Historic that these cards should be fine. I want them, Wizards. Put them into my face. Blah, blah, blah. Most of these cards, like, don't matter. Most of these cards don't actually matter. This card's interesting, but again, I'm not sure that it matters. Chef's Kiss is interesting because it gains control of a spell. I just think that's very funny. I don't think it would see play in Historic. I just think it's funny. Flying Time Yearling is a really cool card. I'm frightened by it a lot because of the fact that it is a very strong card in aggressive decks. Even if it's not in the main board, the fact that you can put this in your sideboard for the aggressive mirrors, excuse me, or even just creature mirrors, can be like 2 mana to destroy a creature, which is essentially what this can do in creature mirrors, is possibly very, very good. This is free, get it out of my face. I really wish I cared more about red spells, and I'm very sorry that I absolutely don't. This card's funny. Wizards might be a coward and not put this in, but I do think it's funny. Don't put in Ragged Event, please. This card is tearing up Modern. I'm apologetic that I really just don't give a crap about red. We got Ave, very cool card. We should totally see it. We got Squirrel cards. We should totally get Squirrel cards. I think they're fine and cool. This is a free spell. Get it out of my fucking face. I understand that you can target yourself and put all your cards from your graveyard on the bottom in a random order, and that literally helps against Mill. It also helps against literally every other deck. And fun fact, it's a 3-mana, 3/4 flash reach creature. Elemental. Do not even get me started on the fact that it's an elemental. No, this card should not be in Historic. Unless they... Okay. All of the things that I've said shouldn't be in Historic. They're fine if Wizards gives me Damnation and Siege Rhino. That's all I want. Alright, throw in Loxodon somewhere. Asking for Aether Vial would be a little too greedy. But that'd be a nice bow on top. I just want Siege Rhino, okay? This card's fine. I don't really see an issue with this. I think we could probably even have Noble Hierarchy to be generally fine. I actually... Because right now, Goblins are mono red. They don't need to be. So I think having a Noble Hierarch would be fine. But Noble Hierarch, being a human, might mean that she's actually too good, because Bant Humans is already like a fringe deck. And she might be too good? I'm not sure, though. She might be fine. I don't know what I'm talking about. I mean, Enchantment Matter stuff is always kind of cool. Oh, this card's just funny. I don't think it's good, like, at all, but I do think it's hilarious. This card is actually good. I don't want this card in Arena just because I don't want to deal with trying to say its name. I understand that people, like, make fun of this. I don't care. I can't. I just can't. Dakon is actually, like, really interesting design space, in my opinion. Foundry Helix is interesting. We have Lightning Helix. We obviously don't have Lightning Strike. Or, we do have Lightning Strike. We don't have Lightning Bolt. So I don't know how valuable this would be. Do not put this into the game, please. I'm already sick of 5-color commanders. This one is... No, just please stop. This card's awesome. I love it. Absolutely put it in. Right, this card is also incredibly stupid. I literally went turn 1, Thoughtseize. Turn 2, Priest of Fellrights. Turn 3, Unmarked Grave. Sack this. Get an Archon. Blew up my opponent's land. Not just blew up, I exiled it. Then I was able to attack the following turn for 5. I attacked on turn 4 for 5 with my opponent having 1 less land than I did. And I think I went first that game, so they had 2 less lands than I did. It is great. I mean, Moderation is super cool. Piru we actually have to have. We got to have all the other dragons on Arena. At this point, I kept looking and I didn't think that I found anything that needed to not be included. I think everything else that I looked at was kind of fine. I feel the same about this as I do about Mox Tantalite. Again, I want the swords. But I didn't think, yeah, even like Voidmere, like all of this stuff I think was fine. Oh, hey, look, it's fetch lands. We don't need them. We don't. It'd be interesting to see if they do bring in the artifacts. Now, for what it's worth, like, these are actually, like, Dark Moss. No, that one's probably fine. Dross Forge? That might, Mist Vault? The thing is, like, these are referencing, like, actual places on Mirrodin. But at the same time... Oh, at the same time, these are still technically generic. I'd be interesting to see if they attempt to put these in. I don't think they would. I also don't think that they necessarily should. Do not put this card into Historic. Period. This card needs to be banned from Modern. This card is in 23% of Modern decks. Of all Modern decks. It's in like 23% of them. That's too high. Not like in a vacuum. Like Lightning Bolt, I think right now is like 38% of Modern decks. The difference, though, is that this card is stupid. We already have Urborg. I think having Yavimaya would be fine and actually kind of cool. And then I didn't really want to talk about any of the like reprint cards from the sets. None of them really stood out to me as being like overly broken. Things like Flame Rift could help straight burn a little bit, but generally speaking, not a ton of these are things that are necessarily too strong. Vindicate might be... Okay, Vindicate probably is. I'm just being a bad person. Cabal Carvers is totally fine. Absolutely put it in the game. There's nothing wrong with it, Wizards. Come on. But yeah, I think overall, this is going to be a fun thing. I think this is going to be overall good, so long as Wizards lets me just craft the cards. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. I very much want to know your thoughts on this. Also, I wanted to know about a red card, I think, that I really wasn't sure about, and I've already forgotten what it is. Was it a black card? Oh man, I feel stupid. I'm sure you'll remind me. Let me know what you think about that card, whatever it is. In the comments. I hate myself. I have a P.O. box. I'm so dumb. I would like to thank my lovely patrons for the continued support. If you'd like to join them and support the show, you'll find links in the description down below. Do, of course, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe. Please, please, please let me know what you think about all of this. The cards that you want to see from the Modern Horizon sets in general, the cards that you don't want to see from them. How do you feel about the 31 new cards? How do you feel about the jumpstart style of distributing cards into Arena? Let me know just all of your thoughts and more. And of course, until next time, all will be one.